What's happening with it, everybody? Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, the fight that everybody has been talking about recently. Well, I'm sorry to let y'all know that fight won't be happening anytime soon. And I'm going to let y'all know exactly why the fight won't be happening. But before we get into that, make sure that you smash on my like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a sub to the channel. So the fight that we all been talking about, even myself, I want to see this fight. I've been wanting to see this fight for quite some time. And I'm talking about Terence "Bud" Crawford, who is 37-0 with 28 KOs and who is the current WBO welterweight world champion, against Showtime Shawn Porter, who is the former WBC and IBF welterweight champion, and he's 31-3 with 17 KOs. Now, it's been a whole bunch of talks ever since the world found out that this fight was ordered by the WBO. And so, everybody is getting excited that we're going to be able to finally see Terence Crawford in the ring with another elite welterweight. I was excited. Everybody's excited because this is a hell of a fight with Showtime Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford. But like I said in the intro, I'm sorry to tell you that the fight will not be happening. And I'm going to explain to y'all why the fight won't happen. And some of the news that I got, some of the information that I got is from a very, very close source to one of the fighters. Very close. So listen to what I'm saying, y'all. Don't get too excited about this because this fight will not be happening. Now, let me take y'all back. Before, right, in the beginning, when we started hearing Shawn Porter call out Terence Crawford, we was all excited and we was, waiting for Terence Crawford to respond. Now, we know that Terence Crawford's response wasn't the response that we wanted to hear, but after that, everybody said, hey, well, why don't Shawn Porter just go ahead and order the fight? Why don't Shawn Porter have the fight ordered, right? And so we waiting around and see if Shawn Porter was going to basically force his hand, because at that point in time, Shawn Porter was the mandatory to Terence Crawford. People thought, well, all Shawn Porter got to do is put in his paperwork and force the mandatory, right? Force them to either have to fight him or go to purse bid. Well, we was waiting around and then all of a sudden, nothing happened. You didn't hear anything about it no more. You didn't hear Shawn Porter say anything about it no more. You didn't hear anything. And then what happened is Shawn Porter actually got moved to the number 2 slot. And Virgil Ortiz was moved to the number 1 slot as far as, the mandatory position to face Terence "Bud" Crawford. They moved Shawn Porter down to the number 2 slot. And, a lot of people didn't talk about it, but it had a lot of people that noticed it, and they were wondering why. What happened? What happened? Well, I'm going to explain to y'all what's going on with the situation, okay? So we all know that Terence "Bud" Crawford is supposed to be a free agent in the very, very near future. And we hearing things that Terence Crawford wants to leave Top Rank. Well, we've all heard Bob Arum out of his own mouth talk bad about Terence Crawford, say that Terence Crawford doesn't sell, and Terence, he hasn't made any money off of Terence Crawford and everything. No need to get into all of that, but we've all heard it, right? So when the Shawn Porter situation came about, Bob Arum told Shawn Porter straight up, I'm not going to give you no more than $1 million. Shawn Porter laughed at the situation. I make more than $1 million fighting guys like Formella. I'm not going to take $1 million to face Terence Crawford, one of the top pound for pound guys in all of boxing. So, Bob Arum let you know right there that he was not going to pay for a Shawn Porter fight. He let you know. So at that time, everybody was waiting around to see what Shawn Porter was going to do, to see if Shawn Porter was going to force his hand at his mandatory position and make Terence Crawford have to fight him, right? Or drop the title. But Shawn Porter never forced his hand. And then, it went on that Terence Crawford was supposed to get the Manny Pacquiao fight. That fight didn't come through. When that fight didn't come through, Terence Crawford's people, Terence Crawford never said anything, but Terence Crawford's people, his team, they let it be known that they wasn't happy being on Top Rank and that they was going to leave Top Rank. And so this is the talks that we've been hearing. Now, let me explain to y'all what's going on. Why all of a sudden now, after Shawn Porter got quiet about fighting Terence Crawford and, he was moved down to the number 2 slot all of a sudden out of nowhere. Let me explain to y'all first what happened with that. What happened with that is Shawn Porter did not put in that paperwork is because he was told not to by Al Heyman. And I'm telling y'all, I got this information from a very close source. Shawn Porter was told not to by Al Heyman. And the reason Al Heyman told Shawn Porter not to put in that paperwork to make it go to purse bid, right, is because Al Heyman does not work like that, right? He did not want to do no business with Terence Crawford unless Terence Crawford goes to the PBC platform, right? He knew at that time, and he knows right now that Terence Crawford is coming up on being a free agent. So the way they do business is why would I, right, make that fight then when I can wait till he becomes a free agent, and if he really want to make good money, if he really want to take control of his career, he'll come and do business with us, and we'll make 5 times the amount of money, right, than we will if we let it go to purse bid. So Al Heyman doesn't do business like that. He does business very carefully, and he's very smart about his business. And I'll give you the audio footage to prove this, right? I'm not just talking. I'm going to give y'all audio footage to prove what I'm saying. So fast forward to right now. Everybody is wondering, well, how all of a sudden Shawn Porter was moved back to the number 1 position, and then out of nowhere, surprised all the fans that the WBO ordered Shawn Porter versus Terence Crawford. Well, the reason that happened is because Bob Arum made that happen. If you listen to Shawn Porter on his podcast, Shawn Porter said that he was as surprised as everybody else, that he was shocked when he heard the news. Kenny Porter nor Shawn Porter had no dealing. They didn't even have no idea this news was going to come about, right? They was looking at other plans of fighting Keith Thurman, and they had other plans. They wasn't even thinking about Terence Crawford anymore because Al Heyman had let them know, hey, all of that talking about Terence Crawford in the public, we don't do business like that. Leave that alone. If Terence Crawford becomes a free agent, then we'll visit that. And we can do business over here on the PBC. So, that's why he cut it off. So he was surprised when he heard the news pop up that the fight had been mandated by the WBO. If you don't know, the WBO and Bob Arum, they worked hand in hand. Bob Arum has even said it out of his own mouth. They have a perfect working relationship. A lot of people think the WBO belt is pretty much the top ranked belt. If you look at the fighters that have the WBO title, they're pretty much all top ranked fighters. Now, what happened is Bob Arum went to the WBO and he had this fight ordered for Terence Crawford. Now, the thing is Bob Arum did this to show Terence Crawford something. See, this is a last ditch effort to try to keep Terence Crawford on top rank. What he's trying to show Terence Crawford is, look, I ordered the fight. I'm trying to get the fight for you. It ain't me. Because see, Bob Arum knows how Al Heyman does business. And he's not going to advise his fighters to go to another platform and fight for pennies. And I'm going to explain to y'all what's going to happen, right? Is he's ordering the fight. They're not going to be able to get a deal done between PBC and Top Rank because PBC is in no way in hell they're going to send Shawn Porter over to Top Rank to have a fight with Terence Crawford. So what's going to happen is the fight is going to go to purse bid. When the fight goes to purse bid, listen to what I'm saying. Shawn Porter and PBC are going to pull out of the purse bid. When they pull out, there's not going to be a fight. And the reason Shawn Porter and PBC will pull out of the purse bid is to show Terence Crawford, you can't get no big fights unless you come do business with us. But the thing is Bob Arum knows that. Bob Arum already knows that he's not going to be able to get a deal done. And Bob Arum is not willing to come out of pocket and pay Shawn Porter what he's worth for a fight of this magnitude. That's why he had them order the fight to show Terence Crawford, look, Terence, I'm trying to get you all the big fights. It ain't me. It ain't me. Which is a lie, because Bob Arum, if he really wanted to get the big fights, he would come out of his pocket. But Bob Arum is not trying to come out of his pocket for none of the big fights. And that is a fact. That's why Oscar De La Hoya ended up leaving him. That's why Manny Pacquiao left him. That's why Floyd Mayweather left him. That's why Miguel Cotto left him. And we could go on and on, right? Because he won't come out of his pocket for big fights. Now, that's what's going to happen. Mark my word. Remember, you listen to this. They're going to pull out, right? PBC, they do business a certain way. And I'm going to play you a clip to prove what I'm saying, how PBC does business. Give me a second. I'll be right back, and I'm going to play y'all this clip.
He's cold if you think about it, to be honest, man. I mean, like back in the day, it was a lot of, fighters with this promoter fight, this fighter, this promoter, but shit, but Al just, man, he really gives a lot of these fighters an understanding of the hub that he's built, and to let them understand, how important and how lucrative just being able to compete within our bubble, and just to be able to make it prestigious enough that nothing outside of our bubble really even matters. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he has done something and created something that he wants to continue to elevate this PBC world into eventually let all the other fighters and all these other in these other camps or on these other sides of the street really see that if they want to fight real competition, they have to go over that way. If they want that real the real honor and the real prestige of being a world champion, they have to go over that way as well. But I mean, we have all the competition over that way as well too. So I think it's a great strategy that he put together, and it's been working fine for him.
So in that clip that I just played y'all, that was Andre Berto, one of Al Haymon's closest fighters, right? Andre Berto was one of the first fighters that was ever with Al Haymon, and they have a very close relationship. Andre Berto was telling us how Al Haymon does business, what their whole motto is over at the PBC. Now, in that footage, I didn't play this part, but also he said that he is close with Terence Crawford, and he's talked to Terence Crawford, and he's told Terence Crawford exactly what he needs to do, and he's explained to Terence Crawford exactly how Al Haymon does business. Now, with that being said, I broke it all down to y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this. Leave a comment in the comment section. And until next time, y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And hit my like button.
And I want everything back. Not to mention I'm cracking so much of a rap god. You niggas is whack. I should mumble my last bar. Zeus.